DOJ Drug Organized Crime Task Force chief fired. The head of a Justice Department task force dealing with organized crime and drug trafficking was fired by the Trump administration Friday, and he indicated he believes politics may have played a role in it. Dude, no shit. When you work for the federal government, politics always has a role in it. Adam Cohen said he was fired by acting Deputy Attorney General Emil Bove after spending weeks working with the Trump team on a new memo concerning the task force. Less than 24 hours ago, I received a 2-sentence memorandum addressed to me from Deputy Attorney General. It stated that I had been removed from my senior executive service position and that pursuant to Article 2 of the Constitution, my employment with the U.S. Department of Justice was terminated. Cohen wrote on LinkedIn. It was a shock. I had met with the acting DAG every Tuesday evening to talk about important violent crime initiatives. I had spent last weekend editing a memorandum sent out under the DAG signature 18 hours before my termination. My personal politics were never relevant, not until yesterday. Cohen also wrote in the post. Putting bad guys in jail, it was as apolitical as it gets, right? No, actually it's not. We've seen from the left that they have a different interpretation of what bad guys are. Bad guys to the left is anybody who doesn't support the left, not actual bad people. Okay? But notice how he said my personal politics were never relevant, not until yesterday. So as soon as he gets fired, that's when he wants to claim politics were evident. The Justice Department on Thursday sent out a memo referencing Cohen's task force, saying it would combine the Organized Crime Drug Enforcement Task Force with the Project Safe Neighborhoods program. Together, the new entity would be called Operation Take Back America. The memo signed by Bove also stressed the need to combat illegal immigration, blah, blah, blah. Cohen spent a little more than a year working in the Biden White House as the Deputy Director of National Drug Control Policy, but he previously served as a director of the task force in the prior Trump administration, tapped to lead it in 2018. So what in this article actually indicates that there was any political motivation behind it? Actually, you know what? I will say the Hill for this one, they didn't actually assert that there was political motivation. They just said this dude claims that there's political motivation. But nothing is given in this article to actually deem that. And I don't care what it is. I don't care if there is, right? I don't fucking care if there is. Joe Biden literally created a fucking task force to start rooting conservatives or conservative-minded individuals out of the armed forces as soon as he took office. And he labeled them as extremism. Because here's what they did. They created a fucking, like, uh... right here. Whatever. I mean, this is from 7 days ago. The Pentagon Inspector General has scrapped plans to investigate the military's training for identifying and countering extremism in the ranks. Okay? So, um, So, the Watchdogs Directive issued February 25th abruptly halted an ongoing assessment of how military branches implement counter-extremism training, particularly efforts targeting radical organizations, white nationalist groups, and militias such as the Oath Keepers, Proud Boys, and the Ku Klux Klan. The decision to drop the review is the latest shift, blah, blah, blah. Okay? So, this is what I'm saying, right? The Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys, those are motherfuckers that you do want in the military, right? Because they are nationalistic, they're patriotic as fuck, and those are the people you want to send to go fight wars for the US. Because sure, you can claim that the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys are radical organizations. No, they're not. No, they're not. They might have some views that some people want to deem as radical, right? Like mainly concerning them being upset with the 2020 election results. I'm all for with making sure that no one in the military is part of the Ku Klux Klan, but you notice how y'all notice what's being targeted, right? This group was set up to root out extremism in the military. And the only thing that they were looking for are people, white conservative people, right? Oath Keepers and Proud Boys, predominantly white groups, and they're patriotic, right? Sure, they might get a little excessive, okay, at times, but they're patriotic, and you should actually take those people and you should hone them, right? Hone them. Give them purpose, like actual fucking purpose. Channel their energy. The Ku Klux Klan, I'm all for getting them the fuck out of there. I was in the Marine Corps. I didn't meet anyone who was part of the Oath Keepers, the Proud Boys, or the Ku Klux Klan, or any white nationalist groups, or any kind of crazy shit. But why isn't this organization looking for members of the Black Panthers or the Black Hebrew Israelites, right? Or Islamic extremism or communists? Yeah, yeah. You know who the fuck I'm talking about, Sylph. You know who the fuck I'm talking about, right? So clearly, this actually was an ill-intended fucking review decision of the US military. It was directed at white conservatives in the fucking US military. They didn't want to remove political extremist ideology that exists on the left. Communism, socialism, transgender ideologies, none of that shit. No, they started implementing that shit in the military, but then they went after conservatives. And this is what the left likes to do. They like to group people that have no fucking business being grouped together. The Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys can be grouped together, but they are separate from the Ku Klux Klan, right? Because these two organizations are similar to one another, and this one is not, right? So when they talk about radical organizations, that's the Oath Keepers and Proud Boys, and when they talk about white nationalist groups, that's the Ku Klux Klan, right? But they don't make that distinction. The left loves to group shit together. They always take something that's extremely terrible, right? Like we're all brought up in this country to basically understand that the Ku Klux Klan is fucking terrible and should not exist. Okay? But then they take that and they group it with these other two to make you associate the Ku Klux Klan with the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys, but they have no association with each other at all. Okay? Um so back to that. So um no shit, right? No shit. So people can be removed from the government for a lot of crazy shit. That's the moral of the story. Politics, yeah, no shit. Politics plays into it. But let's not sit here like so politics played into it. You are being removed from the agency because you are clearly a left-leaning extremist who supports liberal ideologies, and I'm actually inclined to believe that Adam Cohen was probably in multiple senses working in every capacity against the federal government and against the Trump administration. And this is why you're seeing so many firings, because leftists have allowed their political indoctrination to interfere with the mission statement of the agency of the federal government that they work for. You don't ignore orders and you don't do shit to try to undermine the presidential administration that's in charge at the time because you don't like them or because you didn't vote for them. That's not how it works. When you work for the federal government, you do your job and that's fucking it. Period.